special school board, Amherst County School Board meeting to order. So if we can rise and have a moment of silence and pledge allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alrighty, board, we have a proposed agenda in front of us.
I make a motion, we approve the agenda for tonight.
Okay,
Second.
we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Dr. Wells, we have an agenda.
So, Mr. Chair, members of the board, thank you for being here this evening. Hope you enjoyed your meal. I want to special thanks to Chef Phillips and his students for preparing that for you. They do a very good job. So hopefully we can start using them a little bit more here in the near future. So when we start the presentation tonight, you will get your budget book and a copy of the presentation at the conclusion of the meeting, and that way you'll have that. We did change the budget book thanks to Kim Lakonich and Monet Davis for their work on reorganizing and changing the book. I think you'll find it a little more user-friendly and easily to read and go through a little better than the other version we had. So I hope you'll like that. So I just want to thank them for that. And also I ask as we go through the presentation that, and we'll hit this at the end too, that if you have questions on this, wait till you get your book, kind of go through the book, and during the week between now and next Thursday when we have our retreat, if you have questions, just forward them to Mr. Terry, and then he can compile and get those to me so we can make sure we are addressing your questions at the retreat. So. Okay.
And board, if you don't mind, if you can get me your questions by Tuesday, that gives me Wednesday to get them to him. Okay, thank you.
Right. So first we want to talk about our priorities, and this kind of came from our discussions with you as well during our meeting in October, but maintain class sizes below the standards of quality, provide staffing necessary to meet the needs of all of our students, continue to upgrade and modernize our facilities, maintain competitive pay scale to the surrounding divisions, and they continue to build programs that provide opportunities for all students to complete their school year ready for the next grade or life after high school. Those are our priorities looked at when coming up with the budget. As far as how this is going to be laid out, we'll start with student enrollment. We'll go through the General Assembly mandates. We'll review the summary of revenues, division pay scale, summary of expenditures, all in Virginia funds, and then closing information at the end. So enrollment. So the state has projected 3615 for our enrollment next year. Weldon Cooper has it at 3668 to 3738, and our projections are 3684. However, we're going to base the budget off of the governor's and the House and Senate projection, which is 3615.25. That way, that's a worst case scenario we feel, but we didn't want to go high and then come in lower and then we'd have a budget deficit. Additionally, Weldon Cooper, if you look at the 22 to 27 change, you can see that, this is the three different versions of Weldon Cooper, but each one of these are showing, from 22 through 27, which is the following FY, a decrease in the student enrollment throughout. So we are projecting, according to Weldon Cooper, those numbers to continue to drop. We will see how it all works out, but this is the Weldon Cooper projections through 27, okay? General Assembly mandates. So the governor's budget came in with a 3% pay raise. That was off the annual budget from last year. We had to do over 2 years, 3% last year and 3% this year. That was required in the budget. These are for the SOQ positions for 26. That is required in the governor's budget. The House budget had a 3% for compensation increase for SOQ positions for 26. It did remove the support cap, and it also had a $1,000 bonus for SOQ-funded positions to be paid out in FY26. The Senate version is very similar to that, except it had the bonus in FY25, which is just to be paid in June of this year versus July, August, September of next year. So it all depends. Those are the main differences in the two. We went with the Senate version because that's what, when it came out of crossover and the conference committee, that was the one that moved forward to the governor's desk. So we're working off of the Senate version. Summary of revenues. So the governor's proposed budget was $40,774,932. The House proposed budget was $42,251,900, which is a $1.476 million increase over the governor's proposed budget. And the Senate budget was $41,734,813, which is a $959,000 increase over the governor's proposed budget. You'll see a difference of about $516,000, almost $517,000 between the two, and that is based on when the bonus comes out. So the House version had the bonus for 26, the Senate version for 25. So for next year, that $500,000 difference was in the bonuses and when the bonuses were paid out. Okay. Again, these are for SOQ funded positions, not all of our positions. So we'll have several hundred positions that aren't being covered in a $1,000 bonus because they're not SOQ, they're not funded by SOQ, but we've got to come up with funds to be equitable there too with the $1,000 bonus that the state is pushing forward for SOQ. Revenues, again, state revenues, this kind of breaks it down there. Roughly $35,700,000 in state revenue, almost $6 million in state sales tax, roughly $90,000 in federal revenue, 2.3 in federal grants, $658,000 for adult regional program, child nutrition, $3 million, other local funds, $193,000. Board of Supervisors, we're requesting $17,602.89. That is, they'll give a revenue of about $65,692,973, which represents a $1.2 million funding request from the Board of Supervisors. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. Compensation increases. As we went through, and again, if our meeting with you back in earlier than the fall, as getting priorities, we wanted to look at what we can do. So everybody's getting a 3% increase. That's the annual budget, we have to do that. But then we looked at what bands were we the least competitive in within our region. And that for teachers, that was steps 8 through 12, 15 through 19, and 20 through 25. So in those bands, we've adjusted those bands. So teachers in those pay areas, those pay ranges are getting a little bit more than a 3%. Okay, so they're getting a little bit extra because we're spreading out the bands so we can be more competitive regionally. We're also looking at under additional classified pay scale, in addition to the 3%. So everybody's getting a 3%, but we're going 2% extra for instructional assistants, a 2% additional increase for health assistants, 2% increase for food service 1 cafeteria workers, 1% increase for IT tech, additional 1% for class 1 and 2 secretaries, additional 1% for bus drivers, additional 1% for van drivers, and then additional 1% for bus assistants. So in the long run, those folks there will get a raise of 5%, 4% to 5%, depending on what category they're in. So they get the 3% plus the additional 1 to 2% based on where they fell in the category. Expenditures. So personnel, we're adding, again, 29 positions to the budget. Some of the, again, 10 and a half of those are the van drivers that we talked about earlier last month, and bringing those on board into the hourly, from hourly into the budget. 3% compensation increase, health insurance increase of 7.74% that we are covering. It is no increase to the employees. Okay, I know the other localities are looking at 30, 40% increases in their insurance. We're going to pick up the 7.74, but our employees will not see any increase in their insurance costs. And then again, the select pay scale adjustments for market competitiveness. Under contracted services, we're increasing the governor's school tuition rate. There's an increase in the Southern Air maintenance contract. We're going to remove contracted painting from the operating budget and put it back into CIP. We're going to have to increase workers' compensation. We have to increase the liability and property insurance and did a reassessment. And plus we have the high school's addition, so we have to increase funding there. Increase for utilities, because if you got your AEP bill last month, you saw what everybody else is seeing, and then the increase for copier lease. Classroom instruction, we looked to add or expand the best labs to 9 schools, 1 IA at each elementary school to support kindergarten classrooms. When we met in the fall, there was a conversation about having 1 per every kindergarten class. Budget-wise, we felt that was a stretch, but we can at least try to get 1 in each elementary school to support kindergarten classes. So it might be 1 per class, but they can move between the 2 or 3 kindergarten classes that are there and support those classes. Add an additional senior slot to the STEM Academy, and then increase CTE materials allocations. Expenditures and staffing changes. And I'll kind of summarize this at the end. This is 2 slides, so I just want to summarize it at the end. So again, we're looking at our contract, our currently hourly paid van drivers. We need to bring in the accounting specialist into the budget. That was approved last year, but it wasn't in the budget. That was an add-on, so we put that into the budget. Add the supervisor of communications and grants and websites into the budget. I'm restructuring departments up here with a 2-person negative, so we're losing 2 positions. Add half a school secretary, ACHS support assistant, and AES support assistant. Best lab technicians, 10, because when the ones we did last year, even though you approved them, they weren't in the operating budget, so we're going to put all 10 into the budget. We're going to add instructional assistants at the elementary schools. Those are the 6 for kindergarten classes. Add the homebound coordinator who was previously in All in Virginia, pulling that person into the budget. Add the reading specialist that was previously in All in Virginia, the 0.5 of that into the budget. The class size reduction at A at Madison Heights move into the budget. We have to add a custodian at the high school because now we have additional square footage we have to keep clean. So we need to add a custodian for the high school. We're going to reduce the community school coordinator because we can fund that through the grant through FY26, so that will come off of the budget. And then we're going to reduce 2 elementary teachers due to projected enrollment through attrition. Because enrollment dropped at a couple schools, we can do that through attrition. We have people that are leaving. We just won't fill those 2 positions. That comes out to 29 positions. So when we look at that, the van drivers and the best labs make up 20.5 of those. The instructional assistants at the elementary and kindergarten make up 6 of those. The support assistants at the high school and Amherst Elementary are 2 of those. And then the reading specialist is another. So that's 28, 29 of all those positions are direct support in schools. Nothing up here. It's all in the schools. Expenditure and budget change. Again, operational budget in 24-25 was a $57 million budget. This year we're proposing a $59 million budget with a change of $2 million. Federal grants, ESSER grants. Last year we had $4 million in ESSER grants. That ESSER grants are gone, right? ESSER we've used, that money's all gone. So this year through federal grants is $2 million, 2.3. Adult education programs stayed constant at $658,980. Child nutrition is increasing their budget from $28,996 to about $170,000 to $33,066,066 for total gains and losses of $395,918. Okay. Our budget by the numbers: 75.81% is instruction, 9.39% is operations and maintenance, 7.75% is people transportation, and 7.05% is administration and health. Okay, so it's not include grants, it does not include child nutrition, because no child nutrition is separate. All in Virginia. As we get into All in Virginia, we have 4 positions right now that we're funding through All in Virginia that aren't in the operating budget. So we have literacy teachers, 2 literacy teachers, an instructional math specialist, and an attendance officer that we're actually funding through All in Virginia funds, continued for this coming school year. However, just a note that as we move into the 26-27 school year, unless All in Virginia gets reallocated, those funds will go away, and we'll either have to bring those positions into the following year's budget or not have those positions, okay? And then my closing information here. Again, just to reiterate, this proposed budget includes a $1,200,000 funding increase request from the Board of Supervisors. The current contribution is $16,402,089, where this budget here will request a $17,602,089 amount from the Board of Supervisors. I just want to be clear and straight on that. That's what this is requesting. That's to meet the needs of what you've asked us to work towards, and we feel that is needed to meet those needs. Conversations moving forward. We're going to post information on the website. We'll have social media accounts. We'll have school messenger. We'll have public meetings. The meeting on the 13th, we do have the public hearing on the 13th, so the community will have an opportunity to speak at that public hearing on the 13th if they so desire. Future budget meetings, again, tonight, we're doing the presentation. The 6th, we have our budget retreat. The 13th is our regular school board meeting. We'll have the opportunity for public comment there. Depending on how you feel about how the meetings go on the 6th, we'll determine whether or not we need the meeting on the 14th. And then I need to present the budget to the Board of Supervisors on March 18th. So if we need to come back on the 13th and the 14th to continue budget discussions, we can. But I'm scheduled to present our budget to the Board of Supervisors on March 18th. Okay. And then final thoughts. Again, my final thoughts are this. One, thank you to Kim and her team for all the work they did to prepare the budget and work through this. I think you'll find the budget book to be easy to follow, and it'll help you as you go through the process. Again, also, if you have any questions for me or the team, please get those to Mr. Terry. He can compile those and get those to us by Tuesday. We'll have a chance to go through those and hopefully answer your questions for the meeting on Thursday. And Ms. Laconich, you have some read information for them. Can I help you? Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
So you will get the copy of the presentation as well as the budget book. And that's all I have for you this evening.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Wells, I'm a little curious. The numbers that you had up there from Weldon Cooper, does that take into account all the housing changes that are happening in the county?
No.
Okay, okay.
Weldon Cooper is based off of birth rates.
Okay. But it doesn't look at things we have happening.
It doesn't look at the growth in the community. It simply looks at birth rates from the local hospitals and the addresses.
Gotcha.
As we've said in the past, I do anticipate the developments in Madison Heights to increase our population in the next 5 to 10 years, especially in the Madison Heights zone as far as down there. But, yeah, I know the one on Phelps Road and the one at the town center are coming on, so we'll see how those impact us.
And, you know, and I actually saw on the news the other night, Roanoke's looking at building a new high school for $150 million.
Yes.
So if we had another elementary school, we had to have,
Elementary school's running about 50.
oh, well, yeah, right, but still.
Yeah. Middle school about 100, and the high school about 150.
I would say elementary, you're probably looking more like 70.
Yeah, depending
To
on.
be honest, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're looking at, $350, $400 a square foot.
Yeah.
So, Board, do you have any just general questions without digging deep into things tonight? Thank you for everything, Dr. Wells and
And well,
Mr. Connage.
the
Thank you.
staff.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you put a lot of effort into it. We can see that. So we'll have fun digging through the numbers here in the next couple days. But Board, as you do dig through the numbers and you see things, if you have questions, if you could get them to me by Tuesday, I can compile everything and then get them to him by Wednesday so that he can have a chance to siphon through things and get us a few answers for our meeting on Thursday. So if there's anything general you want to speak and say.
Yeah, the question I have, Dr. Wells, is, based on what we had told you we wanted to see as far as, in the budget, but knowing, looking at it from your perspective, from your lenses, knowing that obviously we want to concentrate on how do we improve instruction in the county, is this the budget that does that? Are these the positions that, as superintendent, you think are going to move that needle so that we can, start having some gains where we're not seeing today?
So everything we've added in it's in the schools, whether it's instructional assistants or whether it's working with elements to help support teachers in the classrooms and give students those supports. So I do feel this will help give those teachers what they need in the classroom, especially some of the behaviors that have been an issue in getting those students where they need to be. And so I do feel that, again, the focus of this was to compensate those positions, but also what we're adding in is at the school level, so it should be straight support of instruction. So I do say yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Terry?
Yes, sir.
So I know it's early on yet, but we're in the middle of it still. The Board of Supervisors and their take on it. Have you gotten any early word yet? Are we gonna look at major overhaul, or do you have a warm and fuzzy feeling about it?
I told Mr. Bryant that I was given a budget based on the needs described to me by my board, and that's what I would present to you. And then that's what I'd be presenting what you come up with to them. So if there's issues with funding, we'll have to work with the county on that to come up with those concerns. I know the county is, I don't want to speak for the county, but I know they're in conversations now regarding their budget. So I don't feel comfortable speaking for them, but I know there are some concerns with meeting their budget.
And the public comment, when's gonna be the next public comment session?
For us,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, March 13th.
March 13th?
Yes, sir.
And will they be able to review this online?
Yes,
Is that what the plan is?
yes.
Okay.
It'll be posted tomorrow.
Very good.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Wells, I know we got an email about an additional position for STEM for junior.
Yes.
And I noticed in the budget, you said it was for senior, so.
Yeah, we had that additional one for the senior. We just got the email yesterday, I think, about the junior, so we did not include that in here because I was not going to make them reprint their budget book for that, but that's something we can discuss during budget conversations.
Thank you.
Board, anything else? Okay, like I said, if you guys could do me a favor and get me your questions or comments or whatever by Tuesday, I'll compile everything, get them to Dr. Wells by Wednesday, and then we will meet again bright and early on Thursday. So if I'm hearing nothing else, there's one more thing on the agenda.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.